What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. This is episode number 18. And we start today's episode off with the January transfer window officially opening. As you see, our schedule for the first month of 2022. 4 games in the Premier League, including a big one away at Old Trafford in a battle for Champions League football, and also Preston North End at home in the FA Cup third round as well. And we start off with a sale as well. Ryan Giles is on his way to Derby County. Still, quite a young prospect, but of course in this team he's never going to get a game. Obviously, Johnny's our first choice left back. Ike Nuri is signed permanently this year. He's our second choice. He's rarely going to get any minutes whatsoever. And also, real briefly as well, I touched on it at the very end of the last episode. And also, I want to say very briefly thank you to those that did give me birthday messages yesterday. Appreciate it very, very much. 21 years old. Not going to hear anyone tell me differently, but no, I appreciate the birthday messages very, very much. And yeah, thank you for all the nice comments. But touching on the last episode, Rui Patricio, I'm not against putting him on the transfer list. Now, for now, he's going to stay as our player and not on the transfer list because, of course, last season he was the joint best goalkeeper in the division and had the joint most amount of clean sheets with 19 in 38 games, averaging 1 in 2. But you saw his stats there. This season he's been a real shell of himself. Nothing like the goalkeeper we saw all throughout the course of last season to help us become the best defensive team in the Premier League. And you would have seen this year, Paulo Gazzaniga has sort of shared the game time with Rui Patricio this year. They played about the same amount of games, and Gazzaniga's clean sheet to game ratio is far, far better than our Portuguese goalkeeper instead. So for now, I'm not going to put him on the transfer list. I'll keep him here, but if a bid comes in, I'm not against selling the 33-year-old. And yes, I know all season long I've been calling him 34. He's actually 33 years old. But I'm not against selling the 33-year-old and bringing in a replacement. And if we are to sell him, if we get enough money and sell a couple other players as well, we might just about have enough for Luis Maximiano, who would be the ideal long-term successor for Rui Patricio. He's 4 ratings lower, but he is very, very young, just 22 years old, I think he is. So yeah, very, very young indeed, and again, one of the highest potential goalkeepers in the game. So he would be the ideal long-term replacement. If a bid comes in naturally, I'll certainly consider it. Otherwise, he'll probably stay for the remainder of this season at least. Still, for the first game of today's episode, taking on Preston here at Molineux as the lads from Deepdale takes on in the FA Cup third round. Taking on the Championship side, expecting a relatively routine victory. I made some changes after quite a lot of games in quick succession, but for the most part, still a really strong side, and we won this game very comfortably indeed. Once we got an early goal, I felt for sure this would be ours. Andre Silva got yet another as well. He has been such a great backup striker for Raul Jimenez, and I talked about it when we signed him as well. The main reason why we cashed in on Cutrone and bought in Andre Silva is because I never really had the faith in the Italian. I needed someone that I knew when he would play would get us goals in the place of the Mexican, because we can't rely on Jimenez every single game. His goal to game ratio is amazing, but he needs a breather every now and then. He's in his 30s now. Andre Silva's been fantastic. Rafa, again, our big money sign this season, he got a goal as well, as did Ross Barkley as well. So I thought that was really cool there in that game. All 3 of our new signings this year, well, apart from Ike Nuri, of course, returning, got goals in that one in a 3-0 victory. That was really nice to see. Still following that, some more bids. We've got a lot of bids to consider in this January transfer window. Morgan Gibbs White approached by Barcelona. I thought that was really interesting there. He's not played that much this season, but with João Moutinho due to retire at the end of the year, he will get more game time from next season onwards. So I decided to reject that bid there from the Catalan Giants. And also Adama Traore was wanted as well. But that was a bid I didn't even need to consider whatsoever. I rejected that straight off the bat. Traore, as we know, one of the best players in this team. He's got more assists than anyone else in the Premier League this year. He is unbelievable. Everyone loves the speedy Spaniard, and he is going absolutely nowhere. And so for the second game of today's episode, first Premier League game of the calendar year, taking on Burnley here at home on the back of our very impressive 3-0 win against Spurs in our last league game. Taking the lead very early into this one, Ruben Neves getting the goal, and Raul Jimenez with the assist as well. Nick Pope probably should have made the save there, but we'll take it as the Portuguese midfielder gives us the opening goal of the game. And real briefly on Raul Jimenez, get well soon to Raul. Obviously last night a very nasty collision with David Luiz in the Arsenal game. Such an unfortunate event, and we've seen very recently, there's been a lot of talk about the concussion protocol and things needing to change, the risk of dementia from heading the ball as well. And I think last night as well sort of highlighted the severity of head injuries once again in football and how seriously they they need to be taken. Because it's a matter of life and death, as sad as it is to say that in some cases. In some very, very sad cases, you see head injuries that can be career-ending as well. For example, a few years ago, Ryan Mason, whilst playing for Hull at Chelsea, going with Gary Cahill, of course, that ended his career. Last night, again, highlighting the severity of how serious we need to take it, and changes do need to be made from the FA, from junior football up as well. There's been talk about banning heading in training. I am firmly behind that as well. You can teach youngsters how to be effective in the air without actually having them head the ball. There are aspects of winning aerial duels that don't even involve the actual physical art of the header itself, be it positioning or the ability to man mark tightly, working on, upper body strength, positioning, composure, concentration, awareness, judging the flight of the ball. These are all things you can teach youngsters and junior football players without having them actually head the ball physically. And they can still improve their ability to head in a more competitive game when they get older. So yeah, there's ways you can certainly minimise the risk of head injuries, especially from junior football level as well, and in training too. And I think last night again with Raul Jimenez, he proved to be the game winner in this game as well. I was so frustrated in this one, man. Seriously, I've talked about it so recently and so often this season, but the late goals in this year's FIFA just do my nutting. Obviously, they're just so predictable. And I hate to use the word, but at times I do feel scripted. I hate to use that word, but sometimes it feels that way. So it's right from kickoff there. Once I conceded with that one shot on target, I talked about that a lot lately as well. Just one shot on target for the opposition, all it takes sometimes. I was so pleased to see Jimenez pop up the game winner. But yeah, last night again, the severity of head injuries, the risk of dementia, and again the collisions that can occur that can be at times life-threatening and career-ending. I think last night really highlighted once again the severity and the danger of that, and things do need to be changed, and again starting with junior football in this country as well. I hope last night the FA sort of saw that incident and really woke up and thought, yeah, okay, if not now, then when? Changes need to be made, and big changes at that, and hopefully we will see some in the not too distant future. Still, regardless, following the win there over Burnley, you saw the draw for the FA Cup fourth round. We got Walsall at Molineux for that one, so should be a banker. Of course, last year got to the semi-finals. This year, the board have asked us to win it. Very big ask from the board, but I've said this season, I don't mind whether it's the FA Cup or the Europa League. Of course, it's not going to be the Premier League. One of those two trophies I want to have in the cabinet come the end of the season. The board say both. I'll be satisfied with just a one. And you would have seen as well Dion Sanderson, decent young right back, but he's on his way to Bournemouth on a permanent deal. Like with the Ryan Giles sale, he's not a bad youngster whatsoever. He's got some decent potential, but in this team, there's an abundance of fullbacks and wingbacks here at Wolves. He's just not going to get a game over Nelson Semedo, our first choice, and Hover and Matteson, our second and third. And so for our third game of today's episode, travelling to Old Trafford to take on Manchester United, massive game here with the Red Devils, currently sat in third place, and both teams needing to win to try and pull away from the chasing Arsenal and Spurs just behind us right now in the Europa League spots. Both teams needing the victory. We got off to an impressive start though. Raul Jimenez once again top scorer in the league with goal number 21, giving us the early advantage, and then Rui Patricio making a really good one-on-one save there, trying to get back in my good books as he kept us in front by one. 11 minutes after the restart, still leading, playing some good football like we have done all throughout the course of this season. Semedo down the right, drags out Piqué, flicks into Traore, good first time header, and Raul Jimenez, my goodness gracious me, this Mexican beast is just that, an absolute beast. I love the Tim Cahill celebration there, punching the corner flag in front of the travelling fans in the corner of the Bobby Charlton stand there. That was absolutely brilliant, man, and the technique, the composure, and the finishing touch this guy has got. Listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again, the fact there were no bids for him in the summer absolutely blew my mind. I know he's 30 years old now, but second highest scorer in the league last year, only one behind Mohamed Salah, and of course this year leading the way with now goal number 22. No big clubs, or no clubs in general, have put a bid in for him, and it just blows my mind, man. The guy's unbelievable and one of the best strikers right now in the country. But regardless, once again, I was so frustrated about this man, trying to cling on to the clean sheet here against the Red Devils. It seemed like the points are in the bag, and they will. He won the game by 2-1, but this just happens far too often, man. And again, I said it earlier, and I don't like to use this word scripting, but it really does feel like EA have scripted it this year, that late goals are just so more common and so more frequent, because I can't even describe how many times it's happened this season, and it just seems almost impossible to avoid. It's just constantly happening, and it does my bloody nut in there. Patricio this year has only got 4 clean sheets all season long. He'd have about 10 had we not conceded all those goals in stoppage time and the final couple of minutes of the game, man. It's absolutely infuriating. And speaking of Patricio as well, following the game, there was a bid for our Portuguese number 11 from Watford. They love signing their experienced goalkeepers, Aurelio Gomez, Ben Foster, but they put a bid in there for Patricio of just over 14 million. And I really didn't know what to do, man, because as Renato Sanchez almost scores contender for goal of the season if 5 minutes into the game, our final one today against the Magpies, I don't know what to do because I really like Patricio, and he's a bit of a fan's favourite at Molineux. You know, wearing the number 11 makes him quite unique, a goalkeeper using an outfield player's number as well. I really like him a lot, but he is 33 years old. He was out of contract at the end of this season, but of course I gave him the extension. I talked about it last episode. I kind of regret that. In hindsight, I probably should have cashed in the summer, but I just don't know whether I can sell him or not, man. Again, firstly, because is it realistic? I mean, Patricio, let's be honest here, is not going to leave Wolves unless it's for a bigger club in real life. He loves playing for Wolves. The Wolves fans love him. He's a first-team starter there. Is it realistic to sell him? I'm not entirely sure. To sell him to a team right now, they're in the bottom half of the table, I should say. I don't know. I mean, you would have seen at the start of the episode that the replacement I would have is Luis Maximiano, who would be the ideal, and is the plan, the ideal long-term successor for Patricio. But I just don't know, man. I just don't know. I'll consider it, but I don't know. I think I probably am going to keep him, and I'll probably reject the bid in the next episode. But lots to consider before we do end the January transfer window, at least. But still, yeah, for the fourth and final game this episode, this one finishes a 1-1 draw against the Magpies. Newcastle United taking us on here at Molineux. The win streak ending after 4 games. The undefeated streak survives. Mark Gillespie and the Magpies goalie made some brilliant saves, including this one denying Barkley right at the end of the game. I thought I was going to give the AI a taste of their own medicine there, scoring that late goal. Sadly, not though. Good stop, as the game did finish as a 1-1 draw. Probably should have won it, but just wasn't to be. But regardless, we do stay in the top 4 as we are looking to close out January, still in the Champions League places. One more Premier League game to come until February. 14 games to go, and we're in a Champions League spot by a single point clear of Arsenal, only 2 clear of Spurs, and only 4 clear of Leicester in 7th place. We're still clinging on to a Champions League place for now, but with 14 games to go, a long way to go as well. We can't afford many more slip-offs like that one if we are to get Champions League football in Molineux next season. But that was this episode of the Realistic Career Mode, guys. So big thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, and if you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all, and I'll see you for the end of the Patricio saga and the January transfer window coming to its close with deadline day in the next episode very soon.